Alright, people have been asking me my opinions, wanting to know what I think about the new deal with iRacing World of Outlaws game. If you are not aware of what that's about, iRacing is using their Monster Games company that they bought or acquired, I guess. And let me just throw this up over here. So, this is what we got going on. They released a little thing saying that in the fall of 2022, a PlayStation and Xbox game will be made. Nothing about Steam, but I'm pretty sure the Tony Stewart stuff was on Steam, so I see no reason why it's not, unless iRacing doesn't want to create a competitor to their online service, but I don't think that would be the case. I think that would be better to have it on Steam as a stepping stone towards it. So a couple of things that you see from their release, and I'm just at Operation Sports to show the article here. In the release, they only use the World of Outlaws logo. They also are saying that they are, still not finalized on what vehicles, tracks, and all of that. But when they say vehicles, well, I assume they might mean, obviously, sprint cars. But then maybe late model DLC, non-wing, wingless, whatever the correct term is for it, DLC. I could see both of those being added. Along with, who knows, maybe some big blocks or something, because Dirt Car, World of Outlaws, it's all kind of the same thing. So, that is the current situation. Now, what are we going to get? I think all you got to do is download the Tony Stewart games, which I've never played, and you're probably going to get a pretty good idea of what the game's going to have. Steve Myers on Twitter, and I will just pull this up so you don't have to go searching for it. He has stated, and Tony Gardner just replied. So, let's see what Tony's got to say. We're getting live updates in this video. So, just commenting on a few comments, because obviously everyone is slightly annoyed by this put out by Steve Myers. Put a lot of effort into the car dynamics, and it's a ton of fun. We put the same vehicle dynamics engineer that built all the dirt cars on iRacing on this project. Which kind of rubs everyone the wrong way, because Dirt has had some major issues for the last 6 months. And it seems like nothing's being done. And this right here makes it kind of seem like now we know why. Let's see what Tony's got to say. So, let's see. Sorry, I'm trying to read this. I don't want to try reading it out loud. So, they are talking about tire model updates, obviously tire wear, AI for dirt. We already know they're working on that, but they've got to get the cars to the AI to steer with the throttle rather than the wheel, and work further on service model and new damage model. Okay, yeah, we know that. And then address some loopholes in the physics as fast as possible, because obviously with the new physics that they put in, it's a bit exploited with what everything's got. So, good to see Tony posting. Haven't seen him post in a long time, but yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of what I guess that kind of solves the issue of what the hell is going on with dirt. So that's kind of cool that that happened right then, because I looked before that and did not see anything. So, yeah, new console game. We're just going to call it a console game, even if it comes on PC. You know, it's something that I want to be able to drive with a controller. I don't want to have to hook a wheel up to play this game. What I want, we're probably not going to get, because I doubt we'll ever get it. But I want something like the Rat Bag games. Those were great games. You had the finances, you had sponsors, you could go broke if you wreck early on. You had to kind of manage your, you know, do I try really hard here? Do I spend some extra money here on upgrades? You know, stuff like that. Like, starting off in top tier equipment doesn't give you that playing for a long time. You don't get that longevity out of the game just because, okay, well, you've done 1 year of the game. The next year is going to be the same, especially if there's no driver swaps or nothing different that could happen. Biggest thing they got to have with the World of Outlaws is we got to have a lot of tracks. I don't care if they're all real, but if we come into this with like 15 tracks, that's going to get old fairly quick. I think you need to end up with like 30, 35 tracks with the DLCs for late models and the non-wing adding to that. But we need a lot of tracks. It's very key to make the game fun. Otherwise, it's going to get stale pretty quick. I know that the Tony Stewart games ended up with quite a few tracks. Back the camera up a little bit here before we go through the fence. So, yeah, I think that is going to be a big deal, is getting a lot of tracks. And then I think what you got to have is, what, the World of Outlaws have like 15, 16 people that are committed to the full schedule, something like that. I think each track needs to have a roster to fill out the rest of it. So Pennsylvania tracks, you put Deweese and all those PA Posse people there. I want to see Deweese in the game, but I don't want to see him traveling to California. So I think each track needs to have a group of local cars that show up when you go to that track. You know, have that day kid that's stupid quick in the last couple events out in California. Have him out there, but not have him touring with the whole series. I think that would add a lot to the game, because if you just get 40 of the same cars going to every event, then that kind of takes away from what the World of Outlaws are. You know, the storyline is the championship, plus can local guys come out and beat them? Because sprint cars have their, you know, you have the series. World of Outlaws is a nationwide series, then you have smaller regional series, and then you have local track champions. And I think it's a way to add more drivers into the game, make it more realistic, but keeping each event to 40 cars, because I think that's what World of Outlaws limits everything to now. But I think that's one of the key things that they got to do, is just make it so that you're not racing the same 40 people every week. I also don't think that we need changing track conditions. I don't think it's necessary. I do think that the heat races need to have one set, like 3 different options that it could have for each track, where it's a little drier, a little tacky, and then mid. And then have a later stage, you know, B mains and A mains, where the track is slicker, because you don't see a lot of evolution through a single race. In iRacing, everything's accelerated, which is kind of annoying when you're trying to do a full event. But I don't think it's necessary, and I think it just would be a lot of extra work that's not going to really pay off. But I do think each track should have, 10 different settings for, a tacky track, a drier track, a slicked off track, and in between that it can randomly pick, and then it just stays that way through the whole race. If you watch the highlights, the tracks are usually pretty slicked off with the sprint cars. They've really went to wanting dry slick tracks, and they don't really change too much throughout the night. I think we're going to see smooth tracks. I don't think the tech's there right now to be able to get ruts and do all that stuff. Unfortunately, ruts are a huge part of dirt racing, and banging it off the cushion's a huge part of dirt racing too. I mean, you see these guys just hit the cushion and lift the front end up sometimes, or bicycle, and I don't think that's going to be there. I think we're still years and years away from that tech. I mean, the tech's out there, but to get it right and not have it, one time all of a sudden you have like a 5-foot wall of dirt, I don't know if that's possible. But really, to make the game playable over and over and over, I think you need that management bit of it, and I don't think we're going to see that on this year's game. I want to be able to have a second team that I manage as well, and I drive, and then the second team, I can hire a driver for it. I want to see driver changes. I want to see being able to bring in a local guy that's only racing at some Pennsylvania track and bring him into my team and take him on the tour. I think that's probably 5 years down the road. I don't know. It depends on how quickly they develop, what format do they take? Like with these games, are they going to try to sell you something $60 every year, and then you got to buy the DLC all the time? Is next year's going to be all 3 series? Or do they just do a season update every year? I think the season update DLC would be a better situation, because you could build on something for 4 years and then come out with a new one. I think that's a better model. We've seen it work with iRacing. As for online stuff, I don't care about any of that. I know a lot of people do, but for me, console gaming is single player. There's a lot of effort by consoles to make everything multiplayer, and what we really lose out on is introverts like me that, I just want to play a game. I don't want the online racing. I have online racing for iRacing. So I feel the single player stuff's got to be good. But to make a game last for a majority of people, you're going to have multiplayer leagues. Good thing is iRacing, is going to be able to bring in their knowledge of how to make the servers and everything be ready for a lot of people or less people. I think they're going to be able to integrate some of that load into the servers that they already have, as long as it's not going to be iRacing type stuff. But I think they're going to be able to take some of their knowledge in that space and apply it. But I don't know. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a very interesting game, and see where it ends up. See what we get. Is it going to be something too hard? To me, too hard is the Supercross games. Those games are just so damn hard to try to control a bike on a tight track like that. I don't have fun with those. So is it going to be like trying to drive iRacing with a controller? Or is it going to be dumbed down? It needs to be, to make it enjoyable for everyone. But then there's also, racing is a very, very small market. And dirt racing, even though it's all over the country, dirt racing is very, very small market. It shouldn't be, but it is. It's, when you look at TV ratings, when you look at everything for what the fans buy, what they view, dirt racing falls short on so many levels. And it's unfortunate. But I think a lot of that has to do with when you look at like the Chili Bowl on TV, and that takes hours and hours to get done because of too much track prep and everything. I think that's why there is a smaller market, is because it's not just an event, start, finish, there's your race. I think that's one of the reasons why Formula One's taken off so much, is you got 2 hours and you know it's not going to go over that. I mean, there are very few occasions where it does. So, yeah, what are we going to get with this game? What's the response going to be? Who knows? I've seen behind the curtain at iRacing. I've seen behind the curtain on Arca Sim Racing. The people in charge of things that you hear from like to think big and talk about stuff they would like to see. But what we end up getting, what they can deliver in time, is always going to be slightly lower than what they were aiming for. It's how the industry works. So I'm guessing 20 tracks, and maybe 12 of them, 14 of them are real. Monster Games has been working on this game well before iRacing bought in. There may have been some collaboration before that as they worked a deal, but I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna see other than just another Tony Stewart game, which could be a good thing. My brother enjoyed the Tony Stewart game. I never felt like spending the money on it. This game I'll get. I will immediately get, just because I want to see it continue and grow. But they got some work to do. They've got to rebuild the dirt market. And they've got to provide a game that you can play over and over, that you can go 10 seasons in. You know, that's the fun about like NCAA football or Madden, is you go through the seasons and things change. If you don't have drivers changes, if you don't have new drivers coming in, if you don't have drivers retiring, if you can't build your team from nothing up, then it's not as fun. What I want to do is be able to pick, hey, I'm based in Omaha, Nebraska. That's where I'm going to race out of. I have this much money for racing. Okay, I'm going to skip the California shows. Hit the Midwest stuff and the big events, and try to build up a team in order to run the full season eventually. Like that kind of stuff would be awesome, because you can build your team up and play season after season after season. If you end up with just, it's the same season over and over and over, that's where the fun dies. So I think they got to provide something more than just repetitive season over season over season. Own your own team, or be a driver and try to go up to better teams. It's, there's got to be something more. Hopefully they're able to do that. It'd be amazing if they can do it right off the bat. Highly doubt it. So I think what we'll see is plain seasons where nothing changes. Maybe not even get, a season after season after season. It might just be a single season where you can select 20, 40, or 80 races or something like that. And then DLC for late models. And then most likely DLC for the Extreme non-wing series. But it's coming. Fall 2022. And hopefully it'll be worth the while. Worth the money. It's gonna be $60 most likely. Who knows? Maybe it'll be 40. I think some of the Tony Stewart games are like $39.99. But we'll see what happens. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you want, what you like that I have said. I wish I could quit my job and beg them to hire me as a, management on what direction to take these games, because I've seen it all from the beginning of racing games to now. I know what can keep people playing the game, what makes the games good. There are so many things that they could do to make, just small things to make it awesome. And I really hope they have someone in charge that is thinking about all of that and not just thinking, okay, we got to get the World of Outlaws in here and make a season, because that's how you end up with like a NASCAR Ignition game. It's got to be something more. It's got to grab you and provide entertainment. I mean, that's what it is. It's a game. It's supposed to entertain you. So, all right. Well, that's a long enough video of me rambling on. So, yeah, let me know your thoughts, and hopefully it's good.